We just want to go out and have a good time.
What was supposed to be a weekend of fun.
You can even see Key Bank right there, where all like the white spots are. People were breaking glass bottles, alcohol.
Took a troubling turn Saturday night on East Delavan Avenue and Grider Street.
Yo, they taping that off. What happened? Everybody just like, what happened, what happened, what happened?
Video captures some chaotic moments. Hundreds of teens and even adults gathered across 4 parking lots. Police say 2 people were stabbed. Fireworks were shot off at officers and EMS crews. Some officers also experienced side effects from pepper spray.
It was a disgusting display of celebrating a holiday. It really, really was.
Buffalo Councilwoman Zanetta Everhart was born and raised on Buffalo's east side. She says she was already in contact with police before the gathering began. But after calls and videos started coming in Saturday, she went to see it for herself.
Young people are young people, right? They're gonna bump their heads, they're gonna fall, they're gonna make mistakes. And what was most disheartening about what I witnessed was the adults that were out there egging on this behavior by our young people. That was the most disgusting part of it.
It was complete mayhem.
Kelly Diane Galloway is the founder and director of Project Mona's House, Women's Empowerment Academy. They help youth in the area. She was also driving through the area at the time.
One young lady, she literally took a firework and put it under my car. I had to back my car up, and it still hit my car. You can still see the firework debris on my car right now and some paint off the front of my car.
They both say there's always room for more resources for children, but they both acknowledge there are plenty of resources right now.
Like organizations like ours should definitely pour into like the younger kids that are out there and talk to them.
As parents, we have to engage. If you want to solve a problem for your young person, the answer is out there. You just have to want to look for it. And we're here to help you.
There's no shortage of action on a summer day at Cheektowaga Town Park. But it's safe to say it had never seen action quite like last night.
You heard people screaming, coaches, adults yelling, get out the way, come over here.
It all started Monday around 7:30 p.m. Vidal Dinkins was coaching football practice when all of a sudden he saw a Nissan SUV turn onto the field and head straight towards his players.
All we could do was run for cover. We didn't know whether to run left, run right.
He says all of his players were thankfully able to get out of the way before they saw the car leave the park and turn onto Greenleaf Lane, where it lost control and crashed into a parked vehicle with a man inside.
My husband was at ECMC until about 4 in the morning.
Angela Scholl's husband was on the receiving end of that crash.
There was just some question about possible heart damage. They had to do a CT scan just to clear him. He had a neck collar on for at least 4 to 5 hours before they could clear any back injury.
She says he's now back at home with their family with only minor injuries.
He feels like he saved the children from getting hit, because if he wasn't there, they literally would have went right into the soccer fields.
Cheektowaga police telling us today that the car was stolen by 2 14-year-olds and a 16-year-old, and that they were taken into custody yesterday, charged, but per state law were released to their parents.
I don't care if you're 14. I understand you're not an adult, but there still needs to be some accountability.
A law Angela says she understands, but feels isn't going to stop this from happening again.
This park should be for children to play, to meet new children, new friends. They should be able to come and feel safe. It should be a place for safety.
On your side in Cheektowaga, Andy Payton, Channel 2 News.
From his primary election night win, the Democratic candidate for mayor already drawing this label from Republicans, who also sought to connect him with the other Democratic primary winner in New York City, while their GOP candidate, James Gardner, today sought to boost his chances despite a certain reality.
By party registration, there's no doubt about it that Buffalo is a Democratic city. But if you look at the values that Buffalonians have, those aren't the values of the Democratic Party of Erie County, and certainly not the Democratic Party of New York State. What people want is common sense. They don't want ideological talking points. They don't want spoon-fed socialism.
The campaign of Democratic candidate Sean Ryan responded that the Republican slings at him were laughable and a scare tactic, even as Ryan's campaign during the primary used divisive GOP figure and developer Carl Palladino with their own linkage strategy against another opponent, as Palladino's son William got involved as a fundraiser. Ryan speaking to us yesterday, still savoring his primary victory.
I'm already getting a lot of support from the community. People calling me, post-primary, saying, what can we do? And I remind them that we have a race in November. So we got to keep working, towards November, and then really start to look at the changes we can make in the city of Buffalo. After the primary night victory and the geography and the support from all aspects of the community, I'm ready to take on whoever comes in November.
But also at GOP headquarters today, city Republican committee members challenging Democratic dominance.
One of the key things that James and the Republican Party values is entrepreneurship and small business development, which the east side of Buffalo needs, and we need more jobs.
Yeah, we don't need more affordable housing. We need to teach people how to be business owners. We need to teach people how to be more of homeowners and things like that to actually take control of their community.
More than a dozen members of the Eastside Parkways Coalition gathered on Tuesday outside the Buffalo Science Museum, which was once.
This used to be the end of the Humboldt Parkway.
But when construction of the 33 began in 1957, the Humboldt Parkway was torn out and the expressway replaced it. Now, whether or not the state DPW, which was the predecessor of the DOT, had the authority to remove the parkway and violate the public trust doctrine is what this appeal is all about.
We are going forward seeking a legal determination that when the State Department of Transportation obliterated Humboldt Parkway, that they did so unlawfully. There was no authorization.
In fact, simply defining what is a park is going to be the crux of this whole case. Attorneys for the coalition argue that the state legislature defined the parkway as a park more than 150 years ago.
The Park Act of 1869 stated that Humboldt Parkway was a park approach and part of the Buffalo Park system. The state legislature dedicated this as parkland in 1869. There's no getting around that.
Judge Emilio Koliakovo determined in February that the Humboldt Parkway was not a park when he dismissed the public trust doctrine case. A different court ruling has caused a permanent injunction, which has prevented the state DOT's 4,100-foot cap and tunnel project from getting off the ground until additional environmental studies are done. The state DOT has not commented on the case other than to say they will begin to re-engage the community about the project.
What that agency has to do now is listen to what that Kensington Expressway has meant to the health posit of the residents of the east side of our city.
The goal of this appeal is to remove the expressway altogether. It's determined by the appellate court that Humboldt Parkway was illegally removed and the expressway was put in. Does that lay the groundwork for restitution to those property owners and families that were removed from that land?
Now that's a very good question. I think what we're looking at is not restitution but restoration. And the law is quite clear.
That law being the public trust doctrine, which according to attorney Ellen Bozer,
if you do it unlawfully, you're taking it away from the public, from the people, and it has to be restored. That's the remedy we seek.
We just want to make sure that our businesses in the area understand what their rights are.
A new push from Councilwoman Zanetta Everhart in the form of a resolution. It's calling for more education from the New York State Police about what local businesses can do about gun regulations and enforcement.
Signage in their store, on windows, they can post signage in the parking lots or things like that, just to let people know that that's a gun-safe zone.
The call for education on gun regulations comes after an alarming incident at the Jefferson Avenue tops just a few weeks ago, where according to Buffalo police, 2 men were reportedly found with loaded, illegal guns, allegedly passing one around inside of the store and then threatening a man and his daughter outside of the store.
That is frustrating as an elected leader, as someone who lives just blocks from that grocery store, and as a mother whose son was injured seriously injured there 3 years prior.
A situation that Buffalo police did not alert the public about until local news broke the story.
This was a definite oversight by the police, but I think that moving forward, they understand the need for us to have these conversations out loud.
It's an oversight that has prompted University District Councilman Rashid N.C. Wyatt to send a letter to Buffalo Police Commissioner Alfonso Wright, inviting him to the next Police Oversight Committee meeting.
I want an understanding of why it took so long for us to find this out.
And it's why he's inviting the public to the meeting, set to take place on Wednesday, July 16th at 11 a.m.
Having those private conversations ad nauseum and whatever, okay, if that's what you see fit, fine. But I think it should have been a public airing.
I think it'll speed things up a lot. One of the biggest hassles is going through and untying your shoes and getting them back on and then trying to hurry up so people get their bags behind you. So, yeah, I think it'll definitely speed things up and make it a lot more efficient.
Travelers at the Buffalo-Niagara International Airport say this potential change from TSA is great news for frequent flyers and for families. Since 2006, travelers flying without TSA pre-check had to remove their shoes at airport security checkpoints. The rule was put in place after a passenger tried to detonate an explosive in his shoes on a flight in 2001. According to TSA, the agency is eliminating that rule at several airports across the country, thanks to the advancement of new technology.
Yeah, I think this is fantastic. It's good news. It didn't make any sense, taking the shoes off. I travel quite a bit, and I heard about it last night. I'm excited to be at the airport going back home.
Sometimes you get conflicting messages from different TSA agents. I think it would save a lot of time. Like I was saying, people wear some complicated shoes. It takes a couple of minutes or something to take them off, and you can keep them on and go through it. It'll make it a lot easier.
Some travelers say they believe this is necessary as there is a growing demand for travel.
A lot of people travel. I think more and more people are now that we're coming out of the COVID stuff from a few years ago. So, anything they can do to probably make the process a lot better, especially for families, is a good thing. So, yeah, all for it.
Measles, a disease once nearly wiped out in the U.S., is making a troubling return. The CDC says cases are now at their highest level in more than 30 years.
Unfortunately, there has been an uptick, a significant uptick in reported measles cases in the United States. This is, started in on the border of Texas and New Mexico in a community that was vastly under-vaccinated, unvaccinated. However, people travel and it's spread, and now it's spreading throughout the United States.
And it has. Cases have been reported right here across New York State, although none so far here in Erie County. The last one here was back in 2018, a travel-related case that thankfully didn't spread.
Measles is a deadly disease. It is not just a rash.
Measles is one of the most contagious viruses here in the United States we know of. It spreads through the air. If someone with measles coughed in a room 2 hours before you walked in, you could be exposed.
Say you've gone shopping at a supermarket, at Wegmans or Tops or Dashes, and somebody measles was there an hour ago and they were contagious, you are exposed.
Most children get their first dose of the MMR vaccine at 12 to 15 months. But if you're traveling to areas with outbreaks, including some parts of Canada, some experts say children as young as 6 months could get an early dose.
Measles is breathing down our backs. There are thousands of cases in Canada, and with the highest concentration is in Ontario.
The founder of Lyme Western New York told me today that she's getting a lot more questions this year about ticks and tick bites than in years past.
Every year I always say it's getting worse, or we're getting more, or we're getting inundated. This is by far the heaviest of requests I have gotten for help, and panicked phone calls or panicked emails, or especially in children.
Rebecca Rawls started the nonprofit Lyme Western New York after her husband Chuck found out he had Lyme disease. She wanted people to have a way to talk with a family who had gone through it already. Most people contacting her this summer have already found a tick on themselves or a loved one.
Finding the bullseye rash, which I always kind of consider lucky. Only 25% of people get the bullseye rash, or not everybody sees the tick. So I think that's what's happening. We always kind of say secondary prevention isn't working right now. And what I mean by that is people typically call me or reach out to the organization once they have a tick bite or once they were diagnosed with Lyme disease. And we always say, just spray before you play.
Roll says you can find the sprays online. She recommends picaridin and permethrin. There are sprays you use like sunscreen and other sprays you can put on your gear that will last for 2 weeks. You also still need to check for ticks after you go outside.
People a lot of times contract Lyme disease. Every single month at every single meeting, I always ask, did you see the tick? Did you see the rash? And I can tell you probably 90% did not see the tick and 90% probably did not see the rash. And then they become symptomatic. And that's when it kind of becomes a problem because you don't typically know what exactly is happening to you.
Roll says she still wants people to enjoy being outside. Just be careful.
Buffalo in the summer is an amazing place to be. Just be preventative and be smart about it.
Lyme Western New York is meeting tonight from 6 to 8. If you'd like to go, I have all of the information for you on WGRZ.com. On your side in West Seneca, Kelly Dudzik, Channel 2 News.
Since the closure of Lakeshore Hospital back in 2020, local leaders say there was a need for drug rehab as well as mental health services in this area. That need was answered when New York Medical Center announced they'd be taking over the same space, and now they have a timeline of when the first services will be available.
We're going to start out doing a 40-bed, I'm thinking by December 1st, mental health unit. And that's going to be in the part of the building that is the best to occupy at this time. There's some remodeling that has to be done.
Hanover Supervisor Louis Pelletier is optimistic that New York Medical Center will meet the timeline they recently laid out for leaders in Chautauqua County, planning to resume services that were once available and needed by residents in this area, but were taken away when Lakeshore Hospital closed, starting with mental health.
After that, they're going to do a 140-bed drug rehab unit. They're thinking that they're going to be hiring about 300 people, which we're kind of excited about.
Since acquiring the property just over a year ago, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell says a lot of the work has been behind the scenes, like finding funds and getting approval to operate.
The roof's going to be repaired. You know, they'll make the changes, but the bones look great. I mean, it just plenty of room. And what's needed, what the service they're going to provide is desperately needed in the North County.
Wendell advising the for-profit center to take small steps like the potential December opening, partnering with doctors' offices and establishing referral chains, bringing services to nearby towns in the Seneca Nation that might only be available in Buffalo. Pelletier is eager, however, for New York Medical Center's Phase 2, which he says could include an ER. On your side in Hanover, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
Look at the street, it's all cracked open.
Joseph Biondolello has seen a lot in his 35 years owning autos on Union Road in Cheektowaga.
Nothing this bad. The water was right up to our sidewalk here.
But the damage caused by a 20-inch water main break along Union was a first.
It happened about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, because I left here to go to Restaurant Depot, and they gave me a call that the whole street sort of cracked open.
Shin-high deep water flooded Union Road between George Urban Boulevard and Orchard Place, and water pressure in the area quickly dropped.
Yes, it was like a river. We were in the pool and having a good time, and she said her water pressure went down, and then we heard that there was a water main break.
The NFTA confirms that there was some impact with water at the Buffalo airport. It took the Erie County Water Authority about 2 hours to get the main shut off, and when the water drained, the damage to Union Road was revealed. The roadway buckled at parts, and water seeped out from under a layer of asphalt, causing concerns of a potential sinkhole.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's like the road is like completely crumbling. It's amazing to see. Really crazy.
New York State DOT crews were also on scene surveying the damage, calling in heavy machinery to begin prepping Union Road for a significant overnight repair. Right now, the extent of the damage is unclear, at least until crews are able to dig up the roadway and see the damage for themselves.
They said they might have it done by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, so it shouldn't affect us, but we'll see. You know, but what could go wrong always goes wrong, right?
While the wide receiver room doesn't look exactly like it did last season, the position group will still be an intriguing one to watch for a second straight training camp. No need to worry about where Khalil Shakir stands. Shakir took advantage of the departures of Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis last season and stepped up to lead the Bills in receptions, targets and receiving yards, solidifying his spot as Josh Allen's #1 target. The reward? A 4-year extension this offseason worth up to $60 million, with the Bills viewing Shakir as their go-to guy in the slot going forward. Behind Shakir, though, there are more questions. What will Keon Coleman look like in his second season in the NFL? Coleman appeared on his way to a standout rookie season last year before a November injury against Miami forced him to miss a month of the season, and he wasn't the same once he returned. Coleman looked noticeably bigger at off-season workouts, appearing to have spent plenty of time after the season in the gym. Whether that translates to results on the field, we'll begin to see at training camp. What more can the Bills get out of Curtis Samuel in his second year in Buffalo? Samuel was the team's top signing on offense last year, but the production didn't match the signing for much of the season. Samuel battled a number of injuries, but with 2 touchdowns in the playoffs and Samuel in a healthier place this offseason, he seems poised to take an elevated role in the offense this season. Fans will also surely have their eyes on the 2 free agent signings from this offseason in Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore. Both seem like safe bets to make the roster, especially with Palmer coming on a 3-year deal. The question will be if either or both of the former high school teammates can push for a primary role in the Bills' everybody eats offense. And there will be a battle at the back end of the depth chart as well. Laviska Shenault is a free agent signing who brings return ability, Caden Prather, a 7th-round pick out of Maryland, and guys like Tyrell Shavers and Jalen Virgil are already familiar with being in the Bills' organization. The Bills know what they have at the top in Shakir, but they'll look to start answering the questions behind him when they take the field at St. John Fisher on July 23rd.
It's, I guess, almost the weekend, right? It's time to bring out the hot stuff. We're getting a Taste of Buffalo preview, 42nd year, and a return favorite. DA Taste is the name of the restaurant, and Ezriel is the name of the woman. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hi.
Okay, so what are you bringing this year for the people? You're bringing the heat.
I am bringing the heat.
Okay, we'll start with this, though.
So we've got our honey garlic smoke mac bowl.
Okay.
We've got our DA nachos over here. They're gluten-free.
Popular, okay.
Then we have our hot ones item. So these are going to be our seasoned waffle fries, our infamous beef birria.
Oh.
We've got a smoked queso on there, cilantro onion, and then we actually took like a lot of effort into this. We made a smoked garlic aioli. It is absolutely amazing. Please come try it.
Sure.
It's got the last dab, but it's not going to kill you.
How's it going in Larkinville?
Amazing. So we're located at 864 Seneca Street. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, and we look forward to you guys coming and trying us.
Facebook, Instagram, best way to find you?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and you can even call us and order.
Okay, now you were here last year. How'd it go?
Yeah, it was amazing. We had lines out the door. We hope to expect the same thing this year.
And what was your favorite part of the event?
I love our customers. Seeing new ones, having the old ones come out, like having kids try our food. Have you ever seen a kid like your food? It's scary.
Oh, it's true. That's a high tolerance. Fantastic. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
You hear the story. This is the chair. How you doing, Matt?
Good. How are you?
You hear the story a lot about the smaller restaurants building a reputation, building a buzz.
Yeah, so we love showcasing the best of Buffalo. DA Taste being one of them. It's part of the reason we do Taste of Buffalo is really to showcase the best restaurants, the best entertainment, the best beverages in Western New York.
And you mix it up too. Every year's different.
Yeah, we try to bring in something new every year, have some kind of nice collaborations. We're excited to actually collaborate with Hot Ones this year and impart some of their sauces into some of the dishes.
How many new restaurants this year?
We have 40 restaurants total, 12 new restaurants, and about half the restaurants returning have a new item as well.
Just give a little tips for people. You know, you don't have to wait in line for tickets.
Yeah, so you can go to Tops, you can get some pre-sale ticket vouchers. You get in $10 increments, or you can buy the family freebie, which is 60 tickets. That gets you 4 free Coca-Cola beverages. But I would definitely check out tasteofbuffalo.com. There you can download our digital festival guide, which has all the amazing restaurants and things they're serving there, all the entertainment schedule, so everything that you need to know at Taste of Buffalo, tasteofbuffalo.com.
I think parking garages are the way to go too. There are a few around the venue too.
There's a lot of parking options. Get here early, get in line early, and try all the restaurants. Make it a 2-day event. Lunch, dinner, both days.
Tasteofbuffalo.com?
Tasteofbuffalo.com.
2-day event.
Thank you,
so there you go. 42nd year now for this iconic Western New York summer event. On your side in Niagara Square, which is a circle. I'm Kevin O'Neill, Channel 2 News.